When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of MUGA, Content Kings of the Touchline Fracas podcast family. This evening I'm joined with Dennis Rodman and Scotty Pippin, aka Disu and Seb. Seb, how's it going, mate?
Hey, listen, you know I'm MJ, innit? You know I'm MJ. But it's funny because we've had to start this podcast twice, innit? And
Yeah.
I was calling Mariah Scotty Pippen, but he's now demoted to Steve Kerr. So, so Mariah's now Steve Kerr. And this is Rodman.
It's all right, this is no Pippin, yeah? Wow. Oh, sorry, no MJ, should I say. I respect that. I respect that.
Hey.
Disu, how you doing, man?
I reject everything Sebia said. It's clear as day. I am MJ.
Yeah,
Scott Durrell, Mariah, Ryan Phil Jackson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't mind being Phil.
Yeah,
cool.
Rodney, definitely Dennis Rodman, always gone AWOL when it's game time.
always in Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah, for real. Let's get into it, lads. So, first thing, bit of good news that we've gotten. Uncle Gallo, staying to January. Let's speak on it. How do you guys feel?
I'm happy, man. I feel like...
Yeah, my God, he's good.
Hey, nah, he worked for it and he deserves it, bro. Respect to Garno, bro. Like, the thing is, not even gonna lie, it'd be sad if he just left just like that, because as far as like loans go, he hasn't done bad. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that, he hasn't done bad. He's done his job. He's come in Europe. He's banged goals in Europe. And then also when he's come off the bench, he's made a difference, whether that be, just being a presence physically or just coming on and, or scoring or whatever. He's done his job. He was meant to be the second, like the backup striker. So yeah, him leaving early would have been a disappointment, and also would have left us short. And during like Corona and stuff like that, you have to think, if he goes back now, that means we're one injury away from just having Greenwood and Rashford up top with no backups at all. Yeah, which would be...
You're forgetting somebody still. Don't come on. Let's
No, I'm saying one injury away.
Okay. Yeah, but you didn't mention a certain man.
No, I'm not going to mention my man's name, but if he gets injured, then it's going to be Greenwood and Rashford.
I'm not going to mention mention his name, bro.
No. So, yeah, so if my man gets injured, then, do you know what I mean? We're going to have Greenwood and Rashford, and we're just going to be pretty much stuck in the same, the same situation and stuff like that. So having somebody it's just an extra body, man. And again, he deserves it, in my opinion. And yeah, glad that he'll be staying until Jan, and hopefully we can get in the top 4 and possibly win a cup if those cups are still on.
Sweet. Disu, anything else you want to add in regards to Gala? I know you're a big fan. You got Gala on the back of that top, innit?
No, not yet though. But I felt like he has dramatically superseded my expectations. I was quite disgusted when we linked with him. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I knew from that Watford pick.
You just wanted him just for the balance, cuz. But as what said, when he comes on, the fact that he makes the ball stick, because although Martial's quite good at making the ball stick to feet, if you throw it to his chest on the channels, it's not quite the same. And also, Igalo's tried and tested and pinning the defenders. And also, he just gives you something extra. And he's done well in the cup game. So, I think it's quite difficult to find a backup striker that's actually quite useful. Like, I think only really City have that person that is actually quality off the bench in Gabriel Jesus. Origi's all right, I guess. Michi and Giroud are absolute ass cheeks. I don't know. Who else has got... I don't think anyone else has really got like a good backup striker. So it's quite hard to get somebody to come to your team knowing they're going to be the second choice if you're playing only one up front. So I'm pretty happy with that, and hopefully he does well for us this season.
Calm. Well, with that being said, guess the highlight news is the fact that we're back in business, baby. So the Prem's coming back, all things considered. I think the first batch of matches on the 17th of May, and we're playing on the 20th, which is the Saturday of that week. How do we feel, boys?
You said 17th of May, you mean June, right?
17th of June, yeah. And then we're playing on the 20th.
Who's our first game back?
Spurs.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely
Right
love
back
to
in.
see it.
Right.
Right back in, man.
Do
Yeah,
you
no,
really
no.
love?
Do you know what it is? Because it's going to be a good measure stick of what's going to happen. Because if, okay, Spurs have all their players back, cool, but we have all our players back, and a constant, throughout this pod is saying, oh, if we get everybody on the pitch, like I'd like to see what it looks like and
We've been
stuff like that.
gassing, man. We've been gassing. You know
Yeah,
what
we've
I'm
been
saying?
guessing. So I want to see what it looks like. Like I want to see what it looks like, and I feel like Spurs would be a good test. Also, it's a must-win. Spurs are only, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 points behind us, so it's a must-win anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like we basically cannot lose that game regardless. Like it's a draw or win, innit? So, yeah, man. And then also after Spurs, the rest of the fixtures are quite favourable. Like Spurs is probably the hardest fixture. So if we can win that, I feel that it stands us in good stead for the remaining games. And our issue has been the smaller games, but that's because we haven't had players that have been creative enough on the field at the same time, i.e. Pogba and Bruno. So if them two can stay fit and we're playing the smaller teams, for me, and Rashford's back, for me, I expect us to go on and win all of these games.
Bullish, yeah. Cool. What do you think, Disu?
I think obviously if we play that game when it was meant to be to have been played, although we would have been down Pogba and Rashford, Spurs were down quite a lot of players and they were on a very terrible run of form. So I would have definitely backed us to win that game. And I don't really back us too tough and quite pessimistic. It's going to be interesting now because Spurs' main danger men are back, like Kane and Son. And that does worry me because Spurs at home, they need to win that game. So you've got Bergwijn now as well. So they've got quite a lot of options. And I just don't trust a couple of them men at the back. They're a bit funny still. However, we do have a good big game record. We do have two of our top 3 players in Pogba and Rashford back. And Pogba, Rashford, and they add Martial to the mix tend to play well in the big games. So that's a good step for us. And it's Mourinho. Like with Mourinho, like I'm not backing them to play mad sick or do you know what I mean? Or mad sick football or to really tactically outclass us. I don't see that. I don't see that from them. So and Spurs are one of the teams that I don't. It's weird. Like I feel like our midfield can actually have up their midfield. Their midfield isn't that good. Who have they got right now? They've got rid of X, and so is what Winks, Lesoso. Immobile definitely playing. Mourinho's training them. I had part the other day. Do you know what I mean? So a midfield of Pogba, Bruno plus somebody else. I expect us to be able to deal with Spurs' physicality and actually get a result out of the game. But having said that, all that optimism, it'll be so United to go there and get panned 3-0. So concede 2 goals from set pieces early on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Lindelof gets swallowed at the back post by Vertonghen or something like that. And you know what I mean? I can just see it.
I can see it.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Let's hope not. Obviously, we're bullish coming in. We got all the boys back. Pogba, Bruno. The streets have been crying out for that. Even the United account, the admin knows that the streets are. I'm seeing Pogba, Bruno propaganda every 2 days. 2 teammates training together. You don't say. You don't. Pogba and Bruno are loving training together.
Kind of like a campaign trail. Vote Pogba Bruno for 2020.
They got a chance at this rate, boy. If they get us into the Champions League, I might have to vote for them still. So obviously we're going in and we're chasing Chelsea down. But I feel good. Rash is back. Obviously, Seb. That's where all your stocks are at. So it's looking good. And yeah, it's been a while, lad. It's been a while. So I'm looking forward to it. Even though it's not going to be the same without the fans and the typical atmosphere. And I'm interested to see how that impacts the players and the tempo they play with. Because obviously we've watched Germany and we could say whatever we want to say about the league. We won't talk on that too much. But I think not having fans in there definitely takes something away from the intensity and the tempo of the game when the players are playing. Cool. So obviously another week, another slide dig at Pogba in the news. Teddy Sheringham was speaking to Graham Souness, talking about what players at United should leave, what players should stay. And once again, Pogba's coming out of these guys' mouths. Seb, you're somebody who had quite a bit to say about that, so just wanted to give you that platform to speak on it, brother.
Yeah, no, for me, man, like even the way how that question was set up, soon as asked that question, knowing In fact, Teddy Sheringham knew the questions that Souness was going to ask because obviously they've probably done some form of pre-production in it. And then obviously Souness has set that up, and you can hear he's probably grinning in that. Do you know what I mean? He wants to know what players, and he knew Pogba was going to be mentioned by Teddy Sheringham. And for me, I just feel like it's lazy journalism. Like, Pogba is like the buzzword for you to get clicks, for you to get views or whatever. But like, it wasn't maybe 6-7 months ago when Sterling came out and he mentioned about the biased reporting from the media. Everybody had their hands up and said, oh yeah, maybe we was biased, or maybe we was this. Just because Pogba isn't British doesn't mean we still can't see the same bias. You're still looking for a black person to be the fall guy. And it happens to be Pogba because he wants to leave. Yeah, because Pogba wants to leave and he's unhappy, I feel like they're just using Pogba as like propaganda, and because he's a big star, his name's in everybody's mouths. And just some of the things are like, it just doesn't make no sense. Like, even when I think about sometimes how like Man United fans treated Jesse Lingard and Rashford when they had the chains and stuff like that. These things are just like biases that all of these people in the media, all of these fans just currently have. But yeah, man, just going back on Pogba, I just feel like journalists, Graham Souness, just need to keep his name out of his mouth. If he wants to leave, let him leave. Obviously, I kind of say certain things about Pogba, but for me, I just think it's just all banter. It is where it is or whatever. But for me, I just feel like that they have a personal problem with somebody with a black player being confident and just thinking, like, all right, cool, Man United are a big club, but I can do better than this. And the fact that a player like that looks like that, thinks he can do better than this, they're thinking like, how dare you? This. And for me, I just like, boy, like, it just is where it is, man. I just feel like the way how they keep mentioning his name is just like totally disgusting. And when you think about other players that haven't been mentioned, think about like Jack Grealish, who broke lockdown rules, who fucking drove his range, crashed, ran away, or whatever. His name was in the media for
That's actually crazy.
3 days.
I've completely forgotten about that.
We haven't heard a thing about it. We're still linked with Jack Grealish. That nobody cares. We're still linked with him. He's still one of our top targets, and he'll come in and nobody will mention it, bruv. All we've seen Pogba do is play football with his family, enjoy lockdown, do his thing with his family, still getting his name spoken about. So yeah, man, it's just something that I just think people need to stop doing. Pogba isn't like your full guy because you can't go for the black British players anymore, because you've been pammed because you've been pammed but like for constantly going at the black British players. You're looking for another player, and Pogba happens to be the full guy. Souness played for Liverpool. What the fuck are you speaking about a Man United player for every day? You played for Liverpool. Like, what's Pogba? What does that have to do with you?
It's clickbait, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you mentioned Pogba. If it's raining, if it's shining, if it's snowing, the people are gonna tune in. Yeah, Souness. Pogba is, before people have even read the whole thing, they're already clicking. And when you talk about content, they don't have anything organic to necessarily discuss, so they're gonna go for the players who bring up the most traction from the fans. And for me, it's like, just make sure you're calling it fair on both sides. You'd think, based on what they say, that Pogba's done nothing good, nothing positive since he came here. It's like, you watch us play, and he's clearly our best, most influential player. Give him his credit. Obviously, there's conversations about how well he's done in the macro sense, but yeah, it's tired now, and I'm hoping, obviously, when he spoke on our podcast, he didn't draw them out. But if that was me, dragging them all out,
100%.
Dragging them all out. But yeah, we'll watch that one. Hopefully, they'll have more to talk about as the season comes to an end and we make the top 4. I would love it if we beat them. I would love it if we beat them. So earlier you posted a pretty interesting article from Miguel Delaney for the Independent. Just wanted to sit and discuss it with the two of you. So I think you're starting out talking about, with all this downtime that Ollie has had, the amount of time he's had to actually sit down, look at data metrics that we use for recruiting players, etc., etc., etc. And I think as a result, 3 names were pretty popular. Sancho, naturally, Joe Rondon of Swansea's defender, Jack Grealish. A 4th name, which was quite interesting, and I love it, Raheem Sterling. So I just wanted you not to Talk on those players that we've been linked with. I'm not expecting to hear much in regards to the Swansea player. You judge by Dan James's brother. Let's just call him Dan James's brother. But judging by those players that we're linked with, what are your thoughts on them? We can start on Sancho, who grabbed a cheeky hat trick. Fresh fade, fresh hat trick. We don't talk too much. You think this, because obviously you're the CEO of Sancho FC.
Yeah, Sancho. I was just catching highlights. I wasn't really watching the game because I can't lie, man. Can't watch that. Man can't watch that league. Too tough, man. All man do is just press. Before you know it, 4 men are going 1-on-1 with your defender, the goalkeeper.
Okay, okay, cool. That's interesting. You mentioned that. I think for one of his goals, it was a 2-on-1, and the other team, Paderborn, were 5-1 down. When you're watching that, how much do you cap his stats?
His stats always have to get taken with a pinch of salt, 100%, because we've seen, man, even Mitchie looked like he could be world class out there. You get me? However, what I really like about Sancho is beyond his stats. Really, his stats are just nice to reference. Like as you don't know, I was on Sancho before he was racking up mad stats. It's just watching him play. You can see he's on another level. Like his movement is sick. Like the way he passes and moves. I'm not saying he's of this level, but it just kind of reminds me of watching players like Hazard and Ronaldinho. The way they were just able just to move off the touchline, be influential in central areas, excellent dribbling ability, pass and move, manipulate play, but also be able to create a chance for a teammate or score. So obviously he scored like a tap-in, a good finish on the third counter-attack, and the second goal was a left foot shot. Keyboard hands was a good finish as well. I think Sancho will be an excellent signing, and because with Sancho, you can play him anywhere. You can play him off the left, you can play him through the middle as like off the striker, or you can play him on the right. And I'm assuming most United fans probably want him on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if he's more effective off the left or the right, but he's been excellent both ways. But I think he is a no-brainer signing. He is English 1. I think he's only just turned 20 years old, so you've got longevity there. And with his profile being a quick player, he's not lightning, but he's fast enough, can dribble, can shoot, can pass, and he can move off the front line. Having him, Martial and Rashford as a trio sounds really, really exciting. So that's what I'm very much in fan of that. And I think if United are serious, they have to make sure they get it done this window. They have to, because the longer you leave it, the better Sancho gets and the more competition you have. Right now, it seems that we're in pole position. If you believe what you read, you have to make that count. You have to.
Cool. What are your feelings on the man, Seb?
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with his performance. It's funny because I can tell when he scored his second goal, he was down for the third goal. Like there was just the way certain times it was like trying to burst into the box, and like you can tell that he really, really wanted that third. He really, really wanted that hat trick. So when it was the 2-on-1 with him and Hazard and whatever, I knew he wasn't passing to Hazard, even though he was pretending and that. I was like, he 100% wants to score a hat trick. He 100% wants to score his hat trick. And when he scored his hat trick, Hazard was a bit rattled. Yeah, he was rattled. He was rattled. He already had a goal anyway, man. So like he was rattled, but I was super, super happy for Sancho. And again, like we discussed in the group, yeah, even so like when we look at the Bundesliga and we look at kind of like some of the defending there and some of the physical attributes that some of the defenders have, even if Sancho halves his return, he's still doing well. Do you know what I mean? Like if he had 10 goals, 10 assists in the Prem, he would still do well. So I think he'd get more than that. But I'm saying even if he did that, he'd still do well. But one thing that probably like won me over is looking at some of the positions Daniel James got into this season for us. So we look at some of those positions and you think, right, if Sancho's there, that's another 10 goals, or that's another 5 or 6 or 7 assists. Do you know what I mean? So many times my man has got into a certain position and crossed it out of the player's legs, or got into a certain position and shot and it's gone wide. And you look at Sancho's finishing, so underrated, guys, so clinical. So what we will get into those positions all day. It's just about having the quality and the execution in the final third, and that's something that we've been lacking. So he has that. So for me, that's kind of won me over thinking, all right, cool. He's like Man United. It would be him, Rashford, Martial up top. you're laughing. We've seen what Martial and Rashford can do on their own. Do you know what I mean? If you add that in the mix, I feel like that's a recipe for a lot of goals. So yeah, man, I definitely want him to come to United. And as Dissy said, if we don't get him this season and everybody recovers from the economic effects from coronavirus, it's going to be difficult to get him next season. Yeah, like Barca, Madrid, and all them, man, they may be interested. His price is going to go up. Yeah, man, I think it may be more expensive anyway.
True. Barca are trying to do a little thing with Ousmane Dembele. They're saying 37 million. No one's tempted, no?
I'm tempted. Still, 37 million is light.
I feel like at this point they should be able to. I feel like at this point they should be able to 3D print people's hamstrings, man. Just get them a new one, man.
I don't understand that. I don't understand that we're so like far advanced on whatever, and people still can't recover from hamstring injuries. It's one of those like wonders that of the medical world that I just don't understand, that there isn't a way that you can just completely fix somebody's hamstring.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, we've seen that with like Wilshere, innit? Like he's been struggling with certain injuries, especially those hamstring injuries, all his life. So when you look at like Dembele and that, absolutely quality player on his day, but can we get 10 games from?
Wow, 10 games, you know.
No, but I haven't seen him. When was the last time he played 10 games in a row from start to finish? If we get that, if Man United can get 15 games a season from Dembele for 37 million, I'll pay it. Yeah. Better than fucking Sanchez, isn't it? Like I pay it.
Oh, I forgot about that, bro. I saw something that I want to extend it or something like that.
Inter want to extend his loan.
Yeah,
please.
He's been decent for them, and he'll be decent in Serie A as well. Like,
it's
just put that league in pasta, man.
I've never heard that one.
League in pasta, man.
That is true. It's true. Like that is pound for pound. I can't think of many.
Who did Eriksen go to again? Was it Inter as well?
Inter, yeah.
Inter.
They're building quite the contingent. They got Ashley Young, they got Eriksen, they got Lukaku,
Victor
Sanchez
Moses
is there. They got Victor Moses. Conte's bringing the boys back, bringing the band back together, man.
Nico, call Jermaine. We're getting the band back together.
Yeah, Matic. You think Matic ain't going there next? Come on.
Matic is gone, bro.
Yeah, Matic is going there next, man. Trust me.
But in fact, he was actually linked with them last season, I think.
Yeah, he was. Him and Xhaka.
Yeah.
Oh, so they want that kind of... They're not really similar, Matic and Xhaka, I would say. So they just want a left footer, yeah?
Yeah. For some balance.
Left foot and stiff.
Give him Fred.
Yeah, I'm on that.
Cool. They also mentioned Raheem Sterling and how we look to potentially get him if City didn't make it back into the Champions League. Have we heard anything in regards to City getting back into the Champions League? Because if they didn't, that's a big boon for us if they were to like be postponed. What do you think?
I think because of what's happened, I feel like UEFA are gonna allow them for a season. So for one season, they're gonna allow them, and then they're gonna run it back turbo for the following season for City. But I think they'll be allowed this season because of what's going on. Like if UEFA banned City if UEFA upheld this ban and banned City for next season, then that is militant. Like that's real stuff there. Like that's real balls there because everybody's going through it. So that means that you're not hearing it saying, fam, nah, you broke the rules, you need to go. And yeah, like they did break the rules.
You think they've got that in them? UEFA?
Nah, they haven't shown that though. The thing is, when it comes to like all those big like the teams with P's like PSG and all them man like ain't really got it in them. Like they give you like a light ban and that. And even City getting a 1-year ban is very, very light. Like it's very light in respect of what they've done in it. So I feel like they're gonna say, all right, cool, let's postpone this ban, and then have it next year, and then City are probably gonna go ham in the transfer market.
Well, obviously they're talking about players like KDB potentially leaving. Raheem Sterling potentially leaving. Would you guys take Raheem Sterling?
I'd take him, but he wouldn't come. What in
I mean,
fact?
you
I'll
can't
take.
directly move from City to United.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
happening.
I'll take him. It's not that he wouldn't come. It's City are not doing it.
Yeah, they'd
They
rather
wouldn't
probably.
even allow us to get Sancho. Sancho was supposed to come to us straight after leaving City. They blocked that move.
Okay, and they let him just go abroad. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough, man. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Do we still want Grealish? You know what you mentioned about him crashing his car, coming out during lockdown and being caught hammered, etc., etc.
Mm.
I completely forgot about that. Honestly,
Mm.
like it was in the news for a couple of days. But do we still want him with the makeup of the team that it looks like we're putting together and how much he could potentially cost? Do we still want a Grealish in the team?
I do.
Do you see him as like a bench option, or how do you see him fitting in?
Basically, to me, I want Grealish regardless because as long as it doesn't, as long as it doesn't mean that we're getting Grealish just because Pogba's dipping. Obviously, I don't want that, and also I don't want Grealish at the expense of Sancho. I think Sancho's a better player, and he's just versatile one. He could play off either flank and he could play in centre mid. And I really like his profile. Like he's athletic. He can carry the ball. He's creative. He can score goals. And I think it'll be sick to have him in that rotation, like almost as a sixth man, if you like, similar to basketball, where he may not be a guaranteed starter, but he's still playing a lot of games.
A lot of minutes, yeah.
You can be quite flexibly, tactically with Grealish. He can play, and especially you can play in midfield. You can play up front. Like, you might have certain games you play Pogba and Bruno as a midfield too, and Grealish is playing 10. Like, do you know what I mean? It gives you so much options, and also Grealish is 24 years old. Like, it gives you also long-term balance as well. And I think this might be big fan cockiness, but I don't think Grealish will be too adverse coming to United to fight for a place. Obviously, I'm sure he's got England ambitions, but I don't know. I just think that it's a no-brainer having that level of quality in your squad. Like, he's top. He's a big talent. I like him or Maddison, but I feel like Maddison is going to be out of United's reach. I don't think that United will be able to afford him anyway. And I think getting Bruno kind of renders getting Maddison void.
Yeah.
They both virtually play the same position, either as a 10 or like that most offensive number 8. But at least with Grealish, he could also play wide. And he's a different profile. He's a glider. He could dribble the ball. Whereas Bruno and Maddison, although they can give you a little trick here and there, they're more of a final passer, get off that type shot type player. So I would personally have Grealish. Personally, yeah. I don't know.
We can't be mad at that at all. We can't be mad at that at all. Cool. So with that being said, let's finish up with some listeners' questions. Not too many. I think everyone's waiting for the Prem to come back. That's cool. We'll be here. First question is from _active_T_. Do you feel a level of optimism for next season that you haven't felt in a while with United? I feel like we're only a couple of players from challenging and have a great young players like Williams and Dalot, etc., to bolster the squad. What are your thoughts, lads?
Man mentioned Williams and Dalot, when Greenwood is local. But yeah, fucking, for me, it's more so, do you know what would make me excited if Pogba signed a new contract? Then I know we're in the game.
Do you like him or not, man? Do you like him or not, mate?
Listen, it depends. It depends if I'm making content or not, innit? That's it. I do this all for the content, innit? So it just depends, innit? But like, if Pogba signs a new Connie, then I know we're in the game, innit? Because again, regardless of how he's performed at Man United, the little glimpses he showed us makes me think, raw. If we get quality in this team, less of the burden's going to be on him. So for me, we're going to get more highlights. Do you know what I mean? We're going to get more highlight reels. Again, he might not dominate a game from minute 1 to 90, but within that game, Pogba's going to have his moments, and with the pressure being equally distributed throughout the team, I feel like we'll see more of those moments, innit? So if he signs a new contract, I ain't gonna lie, I'll say, yeah, cool. I'm excited because that means that that means that we're probably like 2 players away from definitely like competing.
2 players away from being 2 players away.
Nah, 2 players away. It's real talk. It's actually 2 players away from being 2 players away. But I feel like we'll be comfy top four if we get Sancho and then another midfielder. But yeah, and Pogba stays. But if we obviously get like a left back and another centre back, I feel like we should be competing. But yeah, man, I'll definitely be excited anyway.
Cool. How about you, Jasu?
Yeah, I think it's very contingent on Pogba because you can't really challenge for honours without having top level players for your team. DDG, I still class him as a top keeper. I don't think keepers, relatively compared to other positions on the pitch, are as impactful. And Pogba is our only bona fide top superstar player in the outfield pitch. When you look at City, they've still got De Bruyne, they've got Fernandinho who's top, they've got Mahrez who's top, or nearabouts, Bernardo nearabouts, Sterling nearabouts, Aguero top. Do you know what I'm saying? Liverpool, Salah, Mane, Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent, top players. Like, you're going to need that high level of quality. And Pogba's probably better than all of them. So if you have him, that's a good cornerstone to build on. And then you now look to your guys that have the potential, like Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, probably a bit more long term, to then step up to that plate. And then you've got Bruno, who looks like he's probably a level or two below that top level, but still a high level player. Then you've got a squad. Like, do you know, was it LeBron who said that? Yeah, we got a fucking squad now. Was it LeBron who said that time?
Yeah.
And they were trash anyway.
Trade deadline, I think, and then
they were trash anyway.
They got a few bods in, and then he was gassed.
Yeah, the man will whack had to carry them anyway. But yeah, definitely, I think Pogba is if we have Pogba, then I'm looking at midfield. Okay, Pogba and Bruno, just one piece, then we're all right. But we can still get by with that easy. The attack, if we get Sancho, that's definitely patterned. The attack is patterned. Then we're like, okay, cool, we got to work on our defense. But yeah, I'm with Seb. Pogba, and then if we get another midfielder and Sancho, we are nice. And then we look to build a defense in later windows. But yeah.
Sweet. We've got another question from OZBNJV2. I didn't know how to pronounce that, so I had to read it out. Seeing as you all agree Shaw is a disappointment, who do you think we should sign to replace him? I think some pictures have come out of him in training, and he's looking a bit. He's enjoyed quarantine, let's say.
What? Repeat that question again. Sorry.
Seeing as you all agree Shaw is a disappointment, who do you think we should sign to replace him?
I'm not well versed in left backs in it because I don't really like. Some people mention some random names that I've never heard of on social media in it, so I'm not too sure. So before last season I wanted Chilwell, but his form's dipped off when the season was still on. He had a poor run of form for maybe about 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, you're still backing him though.
Other than no, I'm still backing him. But obviously, if there's better left backs out there, then yeah, just let me know, because obviously the clear one is Alphonso Davies, but he's not going nowhere. Yeah. One thing I wanted to know about him is because he's from Canada, right? Yeah, and those guys, they look. I don't know. I don't think he grew up supporting Bayern Munich, so I'd want to know what team he supports. Real talk, he either supports City, Madrid, Barca, or probably United. Like, he probably supports one of those teams, 100%. So I'd want to know, because he's currently on a small contract because they took a risk on him. Like, I'd want to know if it'd be possible to grab. Like, could we unsettle somebody like Alphonso Davies? I know it's a reach, and but again, like, you got to look at these players. Like, he's proper. Like, I was watching his YouTube today. He's a proper character, innit? So, and plus he's not from there, so I don't think he's gonna have any loyalty towards Bayern. Obviously, they're successful, so that's why he's gonna be there. But is there a way we could lure him? Other than that, man, I'm not too versed on the left backs around the world. So it's me.
Yeah, maybe that's something for us to look at in the coming pods. But yeah, he ain't going nowhere. He is not going nowhere. I've watched a few of their games.
He's a madman.
Absolute matchup. He's a matchup problem. Like, he's like them a stretch free in the 90s.
Fab. Hey,
like,
listen.
who you putting on him? Who you putting to defend him? They can't guard him. And because he's so athletic as well, and he's comfortable on the ball, he takes bare liberties defensively. And then people are like, "Oh, but I don't like the way he defends." And it's like, But if you know you're able to, obviously, if he obviously has like a sick, quick attacker going up against him, that means you have to tweak it somewhat. But I think against Dortmund, he came out of nowhere to X out Haaland. And it's like, he wasn't even, he didn't look from where he was, even look like he had a shot of getting back. Man came and took it off Haaland. Haaland was rattled. No. This ain't clone.
He's a top player, man.
This ain't Schalke. What's going on here, man?
Relax, man, relax. Do you think he's the best left back in the world currently?
I don't know. Again, I'm not a ref back connoisseur. I mean, who's in that conversation? Robertson of Liverpool.
Robertson.
I think you'd put him in there as well, Davies. Who else would we even have in that conversation?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not.
I don't watch enough European ball anymore, but
Mendy looked like he was doing all right.
Yeah, looked like he was doing okay.
I've always liked him.
I liked him before.
Yeah, but before Madrid put him.
Yeah.
You know who I like? I've always liked Bernat.
I forgot about it.
PSG. So sick in build up, so techie. I really like him. But from what I've seen, I ain't seen anybody that's seen that Davis kid. And you don't have to watch a whole season or 3 years to watch it. You know it when you see it, bro. Like, probably the first time anybody watched basketball and they saw Steph Curry play, you don't have to say, I need to see enough for 50 games. Like, you know he's that guy. And Davis is that guy. He's a joke. Like, Reece James, I saw Reece James put Zaha in
the spliff.
in a spliff card. He gave him a 10-year sentence. Zaha cannot bully him physically or for speed. Davis.
What you done to Reece James? I was actually on the Reece James hype train as well. Because I was thinking, fam, this guy is a next level, bruv. Fam, when Davis bucked him.
And that just shows how fast, like, this is somebody who can keep up with Zaha. This is somebody who is absolutely wetted Reece James for speed. Like, as I say, he can't teach speed, and he got the dribbling to match as well. Like, he if I had to pick anyone, he looks the best from what I've seen. Period. He just looks just like a freak. Like,
apparently, we were looking at him as well before buying.
United are fucking stupid, man. I'm tired of them. We was looking at Davis. We had fucking Martinelli before he went to Arsenal. Fam, there's bare shit like that, man. I don't know what's going on at United scouting thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. Obviously, Ollie's at the wheel at the moment, so hopefully over the coming months we should see a bit.
Maggi.
Yeah, sure. Cool. So with that, I want to thank you both for your time. This lovely.
Wait, did you see that? Did you see that other question about bench fucking something?
What do you want me to? What are you asking me, God?
Hey, what was the other question though, man? I see one more question about bench something or whatever.
Give me a second.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
I
can't see it. I can't see it.
You couldn't see the thing about start. So basically, start, bench, sell. So
that's not a question. 2 days ago, I put that graphic together, posted it in the MUGA chat. Nothing. Ooh, I'm back in business. I was like, what's he talking about? The other question is asking us about Igalo, but we've spoken on Igalo.
Oh, fuck it.
Cool. I guess I can ask you your opinion since you didn't actually respond. So we've got start 3, bench 3, sell 3. Question from Houdini. The options are Ronaldo, Rooney, Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, Tevez, Andy Cole, Zlatan, Rashford, Martial. Just you start 3, bench 3, sell 3.
Okay, so Rooney, Ronaldo. Oh, obviously this is them at the United times, isn't it? So I'm just gonna go for who are the best players at the United time. So Rooney, Ronaldo, RVP were the best 3.
Okay.
And then
the next 3 are starting. Who you benching?
Then it's this is gonna sound bare like anti-black, but Van Nistelrooy, Tevez, and Zlatan are the next 3. And then Martial,
Jesus.
Wow. We might not recover
Vante.
You could have started Rashford. I know you barely had that, but you could have started that. Thank you. Thank you. You could have started Rashford. I know you
barely had that. Hey,
wow,
Jesus
man. Wow. And same question for you, Seb.
I'm starting Ronaldo, Rooney, and RVP. I'm benching Rude, Tevez, and Rashford. and selling. I'm selling Ibra, Martial, and Cole
Andy Cole. Can you explain the choice of Rashford on the bench?
because Rashford has more physical ability than Andy Cole,
Okay.
Martial, and Ibra, and I think he
He's
actually
got more physical ability than Ibra. What do you
in
mean
terms
by
of
that?
pace.
Okay, so he's faster than Ibra, but Ibra was a bully.
Yeah, but he's faster than him. And then
Okay.
in terms of, and then he's also faster than Martial
Okay,
and Andy Cole. Yeah,
that's
100%.
great.
Yeah,
The
so
worst goal scorer
that's why
out
he's
of
mentioned.
the worst goal scorer out of
Hey,
all of them.
that's what, and
He's the worst
yeah,
goal scorer out of all of them.
and he can flip flap. So yeah, that's why he's
Lovely.
but
I think we need to do a segment on Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think
100.
he's been forgotten somewhat. I think so.
He has.
I
I think
think
it's
he has.
because I think he has, man.
I think he has. I think also in his time we weren't very successful. So obviously people
Oh,
tend
United
to.
fans always hype about him.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if like a big United account like United Report or any of them big United accounts, or if the main United posted Ruud van Nistelrooy or Van Persie, I think Ruud van Nistelrooy will win.
Yes, I think he would. You know what? Let's put that one that I had. Put it back in the blender. Yeah. Put. Yeah, he would win definitely. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, you're right. He would win definitely. So with that being said, Pippin, we're gonna close up. Once again, I want to thank you both for your time. Disu, always a pleasure. Leave that Harkendale review, brother. You know, I know you barely had that, but
I know you barely.
we need that Harkendale review. Hey, where do you get that top from?
Do you know what's so mad about this top here? I've had this fucking night top since I was like fucking 14, bro. So imagine the size of it on me at 14, bro. like it must have been a madness.
What about generational garms, you know?
Fam. I remember when I bought it, I was so gassed as well, like, cause I used
Down
it
to
for
your
football and
knees.
shit like that. Real talk, bro.
Seb's out here buying Glastonbury tents.
Real talk, bro. Real talk, bro.
That's been 2020 though. We'll be there, guys. Make sure,
Me
yeah?
too, bro.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, lads, for that being said, have a nice evening. Stay safe, boys.
Cheers.
All right, peace.
When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.